Greetings from Maven Consulting Services. We are back with yet another video, and this time we're going to talk to you guys about some tips that you would need to prepare for a US visa interview, and specifically for students, because we are experts with student visas to the United States. So whatever tips we are going to give you today is with respect to only about American student visas. Everybody feels the moment they hear the word interview, there's some kind of butterflies into their stomach as to, oh God, what's going to happen? But trust me, American visa interviews are the most easiest to crack if you know what exactly you have to speak about, or why, or what is the objective of a particular question being asked. Everybody knows that American student visas are based on interviews. Every American visa officer you're going to face is the first American you're going to meet towards your journey to the United States. So this is an opportunity to interact and be your best when you have to speak to an American. You need to exhibit that kind of confidence. The interviews that they take can last anywhere from about 2 minutes to 2 hours, depending on your situation and your circumstances. Never has it lasted for 2 hours until and unless there have been technical glitches, there have been issues with your profile, some background checks, some background verifications need to be made, then they have gone beyond 2 hours. But in about a jiffy, in about 2 minutes to 5 minutes, they decide whether a visa needs to be given to you or not. So in this video, I'm just going to give you some tips that can help you prepare for your US visa interview, especially for students. They know that in India, you can prepare any document for 100 rupees. So it's not the documents that they're going to rely and look for. They are ideally going to ask you some specific questions based on the inputs provided in the DS-160, that's your visa application form. So when you're filling in your DS-160, you have to be utterly cautious on what information you're keying in, what is required, what is not required. So some things that you have to keep in mind when you face the interview is, be aggressive but not abrasive. That's very, very important. Don't show a desperate need that you need a visa to go to the US. Of course, you need a visa to go to the US, but in your responses, in your behavior, in your body language, you should not show that desperation. They know that out of 100 students who go to the US, 90 of them do not come back, and they look for jobs and OPTs and CPTs and H-1B conversions. But when they sit on that chair, when they are interviewing you, they assume every applicant to be a potential immigrant to the US. So it's only during your course of interview, through the questions they ask and the responses they hear from you, they decide whether you're a potential immigrant or not. So don't be desperate. Don't show kind of an attitude that your world is going to come to an end that if you do not get a visa. You know that as much as you need the visa, they also need you to run the American universities. It's a great source of income for them, so they need students, but they want to make sure that genuine students go to the US. And some tips will help you. Don't be abrasive, but you can be aggressive in your responses. Know everything about the program that you're going in for. Know everything about the university that you're going to, like how many credits you need, what is a credit per hour rate, confident body language. They ask you a lot of questions through which they can figure out that whether you're lying or whether you're honest. So even if you're rehearsing your answers, they can make out that someone has trained you. So you have to be very, very natural in your responses. You cannot sound like a parrot. Take a couple of second pauses before you start your answer. Don't anticipate the question. Though you know that what are the most common questions asked, it's quite natural that you read through a lot of social media platforms, you read a lot of somebody else's interviews, and you get to know that what are the questions, and you might be asked the same questions. But don't be so desperate to start responding the moment the questions are asked. Pause for a couple of seconds, gather your thoughts, speak in a very natural way and in a very confident way, and that's what they expect you. They don't want rehearsed parrot answers, which is an absolute no-no for an American visa. Know everything about the university, the program, your funding, who's going to fund you, the financial figures. There could be questions related to your plans post masters. So what do you think of that? So all these is what you have to really think on. So we expect you to prepare but not rehearse, because when you rehearse, they can make out that somebody has trained you or you have trained yourself. So you have to sound very, very natural in your responses. Do not say too many sirs or too many madams. They didn't like it. They consider Indians to have lazy lips. So please do not answer in one word. They do not like that. Make your responses in complete sentences. Try and avoid acronyms because they do not understand acronyms. So if you say USC, UTD, UTA, probably I and you are very familiar with these names, but they could not be. So using full names of the universities, full names of the technical jargons always gives you an edge. So you can always say University of Southern California, you can say University of Texas at Arlington, you can say University of Florida, Gainesville. Make sure you mention the names of the campuses that you're going in if the university has multiple campuses, because the name of the campus plays a vital role. So just don't say acronyms. They hate that, because as mentioned, they always consider Indian to have lazy lips, and you're proving it by using acronyms. Even technical jargons, try and avoid that in the form of acronyms. Don't beat around the bush. Be very, very specific with your responses. Answer only what is asked. Don't give unnecessary information. Never ever push any document that is not asked for. It's not required. When they say, what is your GRE scores? You just have to mention your GRE scores. You don't have to pull out the report to show it. That's where we go wrong. We always try and give more information that is required, and we invite troubles for ourselves. So we recommend that do not give any document that is not asked for. It's not required. If I say, what's your GRE score? You just say your score is 315. I have seen when I train applicants, they are one step ahead in giving responses, which is not required. They say, my score is 315, my quantitative score is so-and-so, my verbal score is so-and-so. It's not required, guys. Mention only what is asked for. No beating around the bush. Be very direct in your responses, and they appreciate that. Please answer in full sentences and not one-word answers. They absolutely hate them. Maintain an eye contact. The visa officer may not be looking at you, but they are observing you. They're busy typing things on the keyboard, and you feel they're not looking at me, so why should I have an eye contact? So please don't look above the ceiling and speak. Please don't look at the floor and speak, but look at the officer directly and speak, because that's the kind of confidence you get when you're looking at someone directly and talking. So that's very, very important. Behave like a professional. Speak full sentences. That's very, very important. Go through your financials well. Go through your loan papers very well. They could ask a lot of follow-up questions. Never ever make self-contradicting statements and subsequent sub-questions that the visa officers ask related to a particular question that was already asked to you. So please make sure you don't contradict yourself. You need to be very honest. You need to be very confident, and you should know what you're talking about. So I always tell my applicants when I train them through the mock training sessions that I conduct for US visa interviews that we conduct for students, I always tell them one simple thing. Start believing in yourself that you're destined to study in the United States. So when you start believing that, obviously you will start getting that kind of confidence that you need to exhibit. Confidence is something where I can't go to a doctor and he can give you a prescription saying that take one tablet in the morning and one tablet in the evening. By doing that, if everybody had to get confidence, you will not. Just think, just imagine that you are traveling in a train and you meet a fellow passenger who is a complete stranger to you, and a normal conversation starts like saying about your future plans in the US. So just think that, okay, they're asking you questions on your plans to the US. and obviously you do answer very confidently to them. So why is it that when an American officer asks you through a formal platform of an interview, you get nervous? You don't have to. They're not asking you some nuclear reaction formula, or they're not asking you some rocket science questions. They're asking you pretty straightforward questions about your plans in the United States. So it's like you meet a stranger, they're asking you questions, speak confidently about what you know. So the only thing here is you have to know what you want to do, or what you're going to do, or why you're going to the US. And if you can take care of these things, I'm sure everyone should get their US visas. So we do train a lot of candidates for American US visa interviews, and we are proud to state that we have almost 100% success rate on the American visas. So it's all about the kind of confidence, the kind of knowledge, the kind of exhibition you put forth in your American visa. I wish everyone all the very best, and I hope that everyone who applies for an American visa this fall secures a visa. Thank you so much.